Took him 2.5 years, but my dad finally built us our backyard playground. We have this awesome playground now in our backyard, and today I'm going to share this video that my dad put together of us building it. Enjoy!
What's up, guys? This is our playground project video showing the construction of our playground play set in our backyard of our house. So I hauled my dad's skid loader down from the farm about 20 miles away, broke through our trailer on the way down, but luckily didn't lose the skid loader. Digging the post holes for the 6x6 posts that we use. I used that auger post hole digger, borrowed from a friend. Here we're just putting the posts in place. The structure is going to be 12 foot by 12 foot. Here my wife's helping me. We're just doing a little Pythagorean's theorem here to try to find where to dig the next 2 post holes to keep it as square as possible. I don't really know what I'm doing through most of this. I'm kind of just winging it as I go. My buddy's helping me some of the technical stuff. When I have questions, I'll call him. So the day we started, we wanted to get the posts set in concrete while we had them braced so that they didn't get out of level. So we worked into the night, and my wife and I got all 4 posts set with concrete footings. Here I'm starting to cut in for the outside floor joists. Will kind of serve as the structural support of the floor of the main treehouse part. I got the one dug in, and then I braced the board up with a 2x4 to find level, and then marked it. Got those dug in, so on either side we cut in, and then I got double 2x12s on the 2 sides that will hold the floor joists. Here I'm just marking out where the floor joists will go. You can see the hangers up there that I've started to install. Here I'm just starting to hang the floor joists. 2x12s, 12 foot long. Measured each one, even though it was 12 by 12, just because I know it was probably not perfectly square up that way, and that way I didn't have one that was too long and I had to pull it back down. I didn't have one that was too short. None of them were too short, but I did have to trim some off of each board. So next day here I'm loading up the decking boards. I used 5/4 inch decking boards, all treated lumber being used throughout the entire project. Here I'm just starting to cut the decking boards in place and put them in place. The outside ones I had to have some additional cuts to cut around the 6x6 posts. So here you see me using the tie down straps. Most of the boards weren't straight enough to my liking to where they didn't leave gaps between the boards that were further than I wanted, so I started using those tie down straps to squeeze them into place and then screw them into place before I released them, and it made for a lot longer process, but in the end I do like how it came out a little bit straighter looking and with less gaps in between the flooring. Here's just a few pictures that after we got the flooring on, the kids checking it out. There I'm using the skid loader to level off the top of the 4 6x6 posts, get them all the same height, and then I'm also cutting in for the top, I guess, ceiling joist boards that will support the rafters. So I'll put 2x12s up there as well. And I bolted those 2x12s and the 2x12s below, I bolted them in with galvanized bolts and washers. You can see the old skid loader. Bucket doesn't stay up on its own, so I'd have to occasionally get back in and re-raise it back up. Here a nice little storm blows through and catches me in the storm. It came in really quick, but the structure stood, so that was test number 1 passed. So here I'm getting the 2x12s finished up there. Plenty of help from the kids. So here I'm putting 2x6 rim joists up there to give structural support to those, and that's what will be used as nailers.
Okay, got everything set. I got the 2 rafter beams on either side, which are 2x10s, bolted in with a 2x6 cap on top for a bigger nailer for the rafters, for a bird's mouth on the rafters. So I am now ready to start cutting my rafter boards. I am not an expert construction geek, so the angles and distances are all that confusing me. I call buddy who built my house and did a great job at that. Have him help me. So it's my opinion. So I measured. So the distance from the outside of ridge board to outside of ridge board there on top was 142 3/4 inches. And I gotta take out, or I gotta add in the width of the ridge board in the middle of the 1.5 inches. Long story short, it ends up being 144 inches across that distance number I used for my calculations. So 72 inches to center for one side of a triangle. I'm using a 12/6 pitch or 6/12 pitch on the roof, but I wanted to keep it simple. So 72, which makes 36 inches up. And using Pythagorean's theorem, that ends up being 80.5 inches from the top of the ridge board down to the bird's mouth, basically. So that was basically Greek when I was trying, when my buddies were explaining it to me on the phone. What I did was I took my speed square, setting it on here. I just started at a pivot point. I found common, which is right here. And so I went to 6 on there. Right there. Made a line. That's in the plumb cut. As you can see, that is the angle that I got. I made that plumb cut. So then from the point to there here, that's what we use Pythagorean theorem to find. 80.5 inches. So I go from there, and I made that line, and then I do the same. I go to 6 again on the common, make another plumb line, which I got there, and then using a 4-inch distance, and then this distance, a 4-inch distance from there to the top of the bird's mouth. Which I did. And so this is what was set on those ridge caps. Okay, on the other side. I need to cut this out, and then I need to make a plumb line down here to finish off my rafter, and this will be overhang beyond those ridges. Hopefully this works, and then I'll use this as a template to cut all my other rafters as well. We'll see how it goes.
So here I use that first rafter as a template, thankfully, rather than trying to make that calculation every time, because it took me quite a while to get the one done. But the template was easy, and just used it to trace on the following 2x6s and got them all cut. Here's the next day. I'm up there starting to install them. You can see I got some 2x4s that are holding that 2x12 up top. Actually, I don't know if that's a 2x12. That might have been a 2x6. Holding it in place until I get the rafters up there. I did all the framing and nailing and stuff throughout this entire project with just hammer and nails. I didn't have a nail gun, so it made some of this a little bit more tedious work. So there's our completed raftered roof. Here I'm starting to frame the playhouse portion. That is going to be 8 feet by 8 feet in the back right or back left corner of the structure, which will leave a 4-foot deck on the right and the front side. And as you can kind of see up there, there's going to be a loft above those 2 decks, so you can get into that loft from the inside. This kind of shows the completed framed part. Here we're building another little structure off to the side. This is just going to be a 4-foot high deck. The other main structure is 8-foot high, 8-foot high deck, and 8-foot high ceiling on that structure. Here we connected it with a 2x12 beam. I believe that was 20 or 24 feet boards. And we used double boards on those there, showing our loft from the underside. We put those joists in there using hangers and 2x6s. And there we got it sided. We just used 4x8 sheets of siding board and got the windows installed. Then we installed a second beam across there, and now I'm digging in a couple post holes using 4x4 posts. You can see those on the left over here as well that we put in to just help add support and stability to these 2 huge beams that are going across here. So got those 2 dug in. My son out here in the middle of the night in his underwear helping me pour the footings for those. And now hanging the little 2x6 hangers here that we'll use to hook the swings on, and this will be the swing set portion of the play set. Here I'm starting to build the railing on the main 12x12 structure. I'm using hog paneling with a 2x4 frame around it, and then I have a 2x6 handrail on the top, which adds stability as well. Here we are decking the walkway across the top of the swing set portion, just using the 5/4 inch decking boards. To start off with, we're just cutting them all and laying them in place, me and my daughter. And then once we get those all laid in place, we come back through and line them all up and screw them in. She would stand on the boards and hold them in place for me, and while I screwed them in, and we had a nice little system going. So here I'm working on the railing for the walkway across the top of the swing set portion. The posts on the right side there weren't tall enough. I didn't plan ahead accordingly. I didn't originally have that part planned out, so I actually had to add to the top of those posts in order to make that level, but it worked out okay. And then we put 2x6 that ran the length, 20 foot long, 2x6 handrails across each side to give it stability, fall protection. So here I'm putting the kids to work, helping me build the stairs. We're putting a little stairway onto the short 4-foot deck. I just went to Menards and got stair stringers. They had pre-cut ones that were the right height, so rather than having to mess with cutting them out myself, I just got those, and then we got 2x6s cut down for the steps, and kids are just putting them in place for me. This is this ladder going up from the short deck to the crosswalk, and then that is the guard keeping from being able to fall off the crosswalk. Here I'm just putting up the railing on the smaller deck. And you can see here we put a little slide in there too. And you can see in the background as well, we got the swings installed so the kids can go ahead and use it while we're still finishing up construction. And that's the little deck after we got the railing installed. And here's my son giving a walkthrough, starting at the bottom, going up the stairs, now crawling up that ladder that we showed, up onto the walkway over the swing set, and onto the larger structure and in. And then you can see as they come down the stairs, they can use those 2x4s up top as a handle and kind of swing off of it, and then down the slide they go. Here we're just starting to do the landscaping around the structure for the majority of the time. You know, we had weeds and grass and mud and whatnot around there, and just wasn't ideal for the playground. And so we decided to put pea gravel in there, put down weed mat and pea gravel and edging stones around it to try to clean it up a little bit, and also just make it so the kids had something to play in and play in the rocks. And whatnot. We ended up hauling in 2 17-ton loads, dump truck loads of pea gravel to complete that, and we used some in another little project that we're doing at the same time over by our house, a little patio project. So here I came across a spiral staircase that somebody was getting rid of, and I decided I was going to try to install this so the kids could use it on the playground. So I built a little deck extension off the back of the play structure to use as basically an entranceway for the staircase. Here we're just kind of lining it up, trying to figure out where we need to dig the footing for the base. And once we kind of got that lined up and marked out, I started digging that hole. I used the auger post hole digger some to break up some of the dirt. It was pretty hard, and dry and difficult to dig out, but we eventually got down there. Dug that footing down about 3 foot. So here we're putting in the concrete anchors. My buddy actually had these left over from when he built his house, so that worked out well, and just installed them. Mixed up some concrete. We actually hung the stairway up in place with the skid loader to where we wanted it, and then used those structural screws to screw it into the deck, and then let it hang freely over the hole, and then pour the concrete around it. That was the best way. That was the easiest way for us to get it in place where we wanted it, rather than trying to put the concrete anchors in first and have them lined up perfectly for the stairs to be able to fit into them and everything to line up right. So this actually ended up working out really well, and I think it was much easier than it otherwise would have been. So this is my wife doing the concrete work for me with her troweling gloves she found in the garden section. Here I'm putting the decking boards on the little extension we built, now that we have the stairs secured to them. And then you can see I also installed the railing posts as well. One post extended down and is buried with footing into the ground as structural support on the outside edge. So I hired a guy to roof it. I'm not a huge fan of heights, and was just never getting around to it, and so he said he'd be willing to do it for me, and so he put the roof up in a day, and that was much easier than me doing it, so I was happy. And then here he's also installing the fascia boards, and he installed the siding and that gable as well. And then here we're just finishing up the landscaping with the pea gravel around the rest of the structure. And we extended it out so the kids could put their trampoline in there and I wouldn't have to mow around anymore. So this is kind of a final look. Still have a little bit of work to do on the inside of the house. Add some things for the kids to play on. Put some carpet down, some exterior carpet down in there. And I'm going to put a barn door on there. I got to do a little bit of trim work still, but it's been a long time, long project. Wanted to get the video wrapped up. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video after we get out the interior done as well. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification button if you want other random videos of our backyard and or youth sports highlight films. This is the place to be.